We need to accept a certain level of conversations. In a country like Uganda that has been doing super great, that is having 6.3% of GDP growth, I think, over the last year, we need to accept that a conversation should be happening so we keep what's doing good and we progress on what we can progress about.
And on that note, I have nothing more useful to add than what you've already said. My name is Andrew Dumba, speaker, and I've been with my comrade Thomas Lesafri, aka Mutatina. This is the Pan-African Hoax-PAP weekly roundup every Monday here at Satellite.
You can check us
on our social media platforms, the Pan-African Pyramid YouTube channel. Please like our page, subscribe, share, and go down in the comment section and give your opinions on these shows. We actually come back on the next day and we respond to some of those good comments that you give and your opinions. And remember, when you're giving your opinions, to keep the comments a bit moderate. Do not use abusive language.
Yes.
Because we are moderate people.
Thank you so much. Go and check Rutatina on TikTok.
And Andrew Dumba Live on TikTok, and the Pan-African Pyramid on TikTok, and the Spy Uganda on TikTok.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Africa!
Let's unite.
Don't agonize.
Organize.
Don't agonize.
Organize. Aluta.
Continue.
Aluta.
Continue.
La patrie ou la mort.
What does that mean?
Thomas Sankara.
Now, if you believe that this whole East African region is one home,
okay,
why do you question me when I'm leaving my sitting room, going to the bedroom to sleep, or coming from my bedroom, coming to the dining to eat?
Yeah, if it's your house.
Politicians are speaking things
but
in their face.
Yeah,
when they're speaking, you think they mean what they say. A man who means what he says is Traore.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, we have seen.
When Traore says, we want Africa to be self-reliant,
yes,
he means it.
Yeah.
The next day, he orders for road equipment.
Yes.
He says, you Burkinabe people who have been jobless, go and study how to operate these machines. Come and operate them.
We operate.
Make mistakes on the road, repeat them and correct them.
Yes.
Make mistakes, don't fear.
Don't making mistakes.
Make mistakes on the road.
That's how those guys
After you realize that it's a mistake, the engineer comes and shows you that you have made a mistake, repeat, correct the mistake, move forward.
We move forward.
So, Traore has started another, kind of mindset.
Yes.
That no. When your brother has done something good, when you come, please go ahead with it. Acknowledge it, appreciate it.
Yes.
And if there is an area where he lacked, your job is to improve it, not to condemn him.
Yeah, it's true. But as you said, he also shows that he has the capacity to think. He has the capacity to have. What impressed me with Thomas Sankara is that he didn't only put some politics on the table and develop his country. He puts some ideology. He puts some structure. It's something that can be applicable in Ghana, in Uganda, in South Africa, in Egypt. He didn't only he sought out the problem of Burkina Faso, but he made the way he does it so clear, so crystal clear, that a lot of people could relate all around the continent.
Everything is doing, if you are a weak leader in Africa, you can simply copy and paste. The systems that he's putting up are systems that can work across Africa. So you saw the comment of Muhoz, the CDF of Uganda.
Hey, what did he say about it?
When he said, I'm coming back.
Kabila.
He said, when Kabila said, I'm coming back to my country, the citizen of Uganda told him off that you will never be the president of Congo again.
He said it straight, He said it straight. Moses, the son of the
straight away. You will never be the president of Congo again, and I'm supporting Tshisekedi.
The truth is he does support Tshisekedi, because Tshisekedi have bought also like those new armed vehicles. You know those new armed vehicles like Uganda is producing? There's a new showroom in Entebbe Road, literally just after the airports. Uganda is producing its own military equipment, which is...
Roundup, Andrew Dumba Katsabe, your speaker, and my usual suspects, Comrade Thomas Lesafri. Not
Sankara. You almost know, right?
Thomas Lesafri Mutatina. Is a veteran journalist and a researcher, but he's also a recipient of the PAP Global Award 2024 class. Glad to be here again with you, comrade.
Thank you.
Traore, last Saturday, opened a memorial site in honor of Sankara. In a historic and symbolic gesture, Burkina Faso's transitional president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, has officially inaugurated a new memorial in honor of the late revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara. The memorial, located at the site where Sankara and 12 of his comrades were assassinated in 1987, features a towering statue, a museum, and an educational center dedicated to preserving the legacy of the man often referred to as Africa's Che Guevara. During the ceremony, Traore praised Sankara's vision of Pan-African unity, anti-imperialism, and social justice, calling on Burkinabe youth to draw inspiration from his life and values. I quote, "We are not just remembering a hero, we are reigniting a flame that was never meant to die," Traore stated. Family members of Sankara, dignitaries, and members of the public gathered to witness the emotional unveiling, many expressing renewed hope in a return to patriotic leadership and self-reliance. Thomas Sankara led Burkina Faso from 1983 until his assassination in 1987. In his brief 4-year rule, he implemented radical reforms focused on education, women's rights, and fighting corruption, earning him admiration across the African continent and beyond. The new memorial is seen not only as a tribute but also as a message of national renewal under Traore's leadership, which has invoked Sankara's legacy amid ongoing political transitions in the country. In January, I was in Burkina Faso, and I went to the memorial site where he was assassinated. That place where he was shot dead, they erected his statue, very long one. My producer will provide those pictures when I was there with my elder Maponga and other comrades I had gone with. We visited that memorial. What happens there in Burkina Faso, every morning, the Burkinabe who are passing along that road, when they are going to work and when they are returning home from work, they stop, bow before the statue and go to work.
Is it?
Everyone who passes along that road,
yes,
the first thing is to give respect to Sankara.
And what's interesting is that at the time of Kampare presidency, so Kampare was Thomas Sankara's best friend. He killed him for the imperialists. At that time of his presidency, this place was nothing. It was like an old garage. Yeah. No one even could go and visit. No one could see it. You could pass in the street and not knowing what was it about. It's only like when Kampare was forced to exile in Ivory Coast by the people of Burkina, and that they reopened that and decided to make a memorial. But what's interesting is that nothing has been done in Burkina Faso, the memory of Thomas Sankara. Yet Thomas Sankara memory live alive all around the world, all around Africa. But nothing of politically been done for 25 years, right? It's only recently that Burkina Faso start to push that story towards Africa. But it's what I'm trying to say is that Thomas' leadership and visions were so strong. Then you didn't even need to do politics for his word to pass around the youth.
And you know, one thing that they also observe with the Traore's leadership, you know, let's be honest, most African leaders, whenever they take leadership, they tend to downplay the contributions of their predecessors. You get the point?
Yeah. Traore will not do that.
They tend to water down the contribution. Some of them are very visible. Very visible. But somebody comes and says, this one is a Swahili, this one did nothing, this one did. The key in Uganda. There are things that our previous leaders actually did, and even today, we who were not there. I grew up today, I say, this hospital was left by Idi Amin.
Yes.
This road was constructed by so and so. But these leaders, they come and want to whitewash your brain and think that the current leadership is the best thing that ever happened. Other leaders did not do anything. When I went to Burkina Faso, I saw that Traore is leading a team of other Burkinabes who agree that the previous leader, Thomas Sankara, built a foundation
Yes.
upon which the current leadership
Yes.
is continuing to build the country. Every office that they went into
Yes.
in Burkina Faso,
Yes.
they have two photos.
Okay.
One big one is Thomas Sankara.
Yes.
Thomas Sankara.
Okay.
Big photo.
Big photo.
Behind the minister's seat, you find a big photo of Thomas Sankara.
Okay.
Then the next one is for Traore.
Okay.
And it shows when you know how to analyze photos. It shows that this one is in the background of Traore. Sankara is in the background of Traore. In other words, Traore is walking in the footsteps
of
Sankara.
I think
that is what the photo shows. And it is in every office.
Yes.
Every street you go, even there is a road. It was named after something. By the time we went there, he had turned it into Sankara Road, Thomas Sankara Road. Traore himself went and renamed the road after his successor. That is something also that Africa needs to pick a leaf from. I have seen some Western leaders, apart from Trump, but other leaders of America and UK, they always appreciate the contributions made by their predecessors.
Yes.
You get it? They appreciate. African leaders, they water down. They make you feel like there's nothing you did. So Traore has started another, kind of mindset.
Yes.
That no. When your brother has done something good, when you come, please go ahead with it. Acknowledge it, appreciate it.
Yes.
And if there is an area where he lacked, your job is to improve it, not to condemn him.
It's true. But as you said, he also shows that he has the capacity to think. He has the capacity to have. What impressed me with Thomas Sankara is that he didn't only put some politics on the table and developed his country. He puts some ideology. He put some structure. It's something that can be applicable in Ghana, in Uganda, in South Africa, in Egypt. He didn't only he sought out problem of Burkina Faso, but he made the way he does it so clear, so crystal clear that a lot of people could relate all around the continent.
Everything is doing. If you are a weak leader in Africa, you can simply copy and paste. The systems that he's putting up are systems that can work across Africa.
Definitely.
When he came in, they were importing tomato paste. He said, we must grow our own tomato, but we must not only grow them, but we must add value.
Definitely.
So he actually supported the first tomato plant in his country. That is something another country can copy and paste.
No, definitely. and
when he came in, if you have looked at the entire Burkina Faso is under construction, road network. They are constructing road. And I want you to go on YouTube, look at the faces that are constructing Burkina Faso roads. All of them Burkinabe, including the drivers.
And they do
here in Kampala. Last week I was even calling alone. I was moving along Kampala Road and near the Bank of Uganda. I found Chinese working on
the road.
Not even a road. What is this? These manholes. Manholes. Toilet manholes on the roadside. Chinese. They were seated there ordering the blacks to lift.
That's the thing. They don't.
So I asked myself, a Ugandan engineer cannot,
the same thing.
Construct this manhole on Kampala Road. Chinese.
It's obvious.
In Burkina Faso, I have been very observant. The trucks, everything, they are being driven by Burkinabe people. The road construction is being done by and even all the equipment, they bought them, they belong to the country. They bought them, their country's equipment, and it is the people themselves who are constructing the roads. That is an idea that you can simply copy and paste from Burkina Faso to any other part of Africa.
Definitely, because the issue remains the same. Like there is need for development everywhere.
Come here to
Uganda. But now we have the way.
Come in Uganda, see how what type of color is constructing our roads.
But Uganda also have had good education for a long time. So I think also the previous generation, it was simpler to bring Ugandan engineers and all that. But now with the current like neoliberal system, what's happening is a Ugandan engineer will make $40,000 if he goes to Dubai or if he goes to the USA, and that's why they will give him a visa. But if he try to work from here in Uganda, he's going to struggle to find a position, to find a place, because now he has to negotiate with Chinese companies, right? And so it's part of the issue, which is that most of the talent we have do not find a place to exert their talent, right? And so what they found in place is that companies that are doing jobs for them by Chinese, as you said, and if it's to have an Ugandan engineer being like governed or disciplined by a Chinese fake engineer, just that we don't even know what type of diploma it is, then we also have we have an issue. So I think what's important is also what the UPDF is doing with its engineers. The UPDF engineer training, you start as UPDF, you finish as UPDF, you're an engineer of UPDF, and you construct for the country, like Nambole Stadium, for instance. It's not just for the army, it is for the whole country. So, because it's inside.
That's a good example, Mr. Thomas Lisafri, not Sankara. Now, the engineers of UPDF, you can see what they have done at Nambole.
Yeah.
But also when you go across the country, they have built a number of buildings.
Definitely.
So what is difficult with an army brigade constructing a road?
What is it difficult?
If you can construct that a building, constructing a building is even more complex than constructing a road.
Yes, correct.
You see, because here they construct a road. In 2 years, I have seen this road of expressway. In just 2 years, it is already breaking down. They're already repairing. That cannot happen on a building. If you can build a building, and it takes 50 years before it gets a crack. What is hard with you, an army brigade of UPDF, getting a contract to build an entire Northern Express road or entire expressway? Because you can see they brought Chinese. They have constructed it. In 2 years, they are repairing. So if that was a building, what would happen?
But it means maintenance is a culture that we need to have in any case. It is good that there is maintenance on road that have been built.
You have not got my point.
When the guys have the contract.
You have not got my point.
Yes.
You cannot tell me that you are doing a maintenance after 2 years of you constructing a road. No, that does not happen.
Makes sense.
Now, suppose we are doing maintenance on buildings. Are you saying you build this building here, after 2 years you are coming to repair the poles that are holding the building? So, it is a mindset, Mr. Lisaf. If the Ugandan engineers, UPDF, can construct a building, 5-storied building, and it lasts 50 years, minus a crack, how do you say you cannot manage to construct a road? You call Chinese to construct?
They can. And it's about all
now in Burkina Faso,
they do it themselves.
They are doing it.
They're doing it
now,
themselves.
This one, we have been here for 40 years. It means we have experience of 40 years. Now, Thomas Sankara, who is implementing that,
everything in 5 years.
Is only 2 years. 2 years. Traore, sorry.
3 years,
Traore. So, it is a mindset. It's a mindset.
No, it's a mindset. It's a mindset to say that no one is going to give you what you want. You have to go and get it yourself. You know, Thomas Sankara was always saying, like, we cannot beg. We cannot beg. We cannot have a beggar mentality. If we want something, we do something.
Have it.
Like if you want a laptop, you make a laptop. If you want a road, you make a road. If you want more justice, you go and you organize more justice. But you cannot expect the foreigners to come and deliver for you. That's a bit of the confusing message of development. Development this, development that. Development is first a country that decide for himself what he wants. It is not just a set of like policies that you need to apply or vote in parliament, what. Development is inside. Development is inside within the country. Your country have to make choice. Do you want to have female engineer, yes or no? First question. Do you want to have like hospital in every district, yes or no? If you have hospital in every district, how many doctors do we need to train, right? Because we're not going to wait for doctors to be trained and then we employ them in hospitals. We're building an hospital, we know we need 200 doctors, we produce 200 doctors. We know we need 2,000 nurses, we produce 2,000 nurses, right? It goes on, it goes like this. But right now what we do is that we sign deals like EAU is coming and say, no, we're going to offer one hospital in Karamoja. And because they're building a new airport that side, they want to look good, they build a hospital. But in that hospital, it's poor planning, because now they deliver the hospital, and then what's happening? Who is giving like the towers in the hospital? Who is giving the nurses? Who is paying for the doctors? Who is actually like making sure that there's supply line, so all medicals and pills are there, not coming from EAU, but coming from Kampala? Right? So this type of development of like we offer present and a Chinese company comes and develop a road for Uganda, what, it does not
Doesn't
work.
make sense.
It does not work.
I've been in Hoima, I visited Hoima, where they are planning to drill oil.
Yeah. Where they're gonna
80% of the people in construction, the road network, the oil facility itself, around the oil facility, it's all foreigners. Now, you are saying this is our oil. Foreigners have already started benefiting from the resource before us. You get it? Somebody has already got billions of money. When you, the owner of the oil in Hoima, the person who comes from Hoima, you are waiting for the oil production. But wait, even when the oil is started, production starts, there is no really guarantee that it is you directly going to operate it or to benefit from it.
And you won't
it will be that white man, that Chinese, who is going to be actually in charge
and knowing what is happening
of that oil refinery.
But for the oil, like for Oima, there is a plan, right? So the country is investing into training facilities to train like future petroleum Ugandans, right? But in a country that never exported petrol, we cannot expect to have like high quality engineer in petrol. That's not possible. If Ugandans are good into petrol, they already work for a company overseas, right? So I do believe that the government has a plan to replace all that foreign workforce within like 5 years. But you need a bit of time to train the people to be competent. What you want is, you don't want to say those foreigners shouldn't come. Of course, for a road is different, because the road, we know how to build a road. But when it comes to like getting petrol out of a lake or out of Oima, it is a bit new, like refinery as well. It's a bit new. So all of those industry, we can have people coming in. And good leaders have always done that. Kwame Nkrumah have done that, Lumumba has done that, even Yarira has done that. You come, you help us, you show us how we do it, and then we do it. And there is a plan set in the law that no foreign worker should be present on site after 5 years or 6 years of exploitation or something like this. What we want is, we don't want like stupid politics that just put in place people that are connected to the regime. So now those guys have a good job in the company. We want people that are competent. But to have people that are competent, they need to be trained within Uganda itself. So they know how they work. They know how the forage and all of this function. So for Oima, I would say, I know the legislative frameworks will let Ugandans take control of it, because Total do not want to bring foreigners that cost him a lot of money. Because now those foreigners that come, they ask for double salary, triple salary, because they are in Oima and not in Dubai or New York or something like this. So their salary gets really expensive, right? And so in order to have good engineers on the project, they need to train Ugandans themselves. And I do believe that it's part of the negotiated agreement from the beginning between Total and the Ugandan government, that Ugandan petrol, after 5 years or 6 years of exploitation, will be taken out of Ugandan soil by Ugandan themselves. We will see, we have to check. But as you said, there's two different topics. There is making a road, which we already know how to do with our own capacity. And there is like getting petrol or gas or those different things. It is important we have those training sessions where skills are given. Because you can look at it even in China. That's how the guys raise up. China didn't develop all the technology they're selling now. They've been first mastering it from foreigners, like coming and showing them how to, and then they master it and they do their own agenda.
You know, Uganda sent people, its own people, outside Uganda to study oil and gas.
Yes.
They went and studied.
When?
Even before they started this project. My own brother went there.
My own brother. Okay. Trained in Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they went and studied.
Okay.
But now, even when they studied, they are there under Chinese.
They work in the Chinese,
hey.
For
so,
ECOP.
I know what I'm saying. This, what is put on paper,
it doesn't apply.
Is different from what actually happened. You have a way of manipulation. Yeah, you have a way of manipulation that even when you say 10 years, when 10 years elapse, you say, but there is this one missing. and you find that you have put people or your country in a very tricky situation. So I know already the politics that is happening within the oil and gas sector.
Okay.
Especially in I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I traveled. They went. I saw that some of the jobs that the foreigners are doing already. Some of them, not all. Already they are supposed to be
Ugandans
done now by Ugandans who went to school outside Uganda to study those very things.
Because it's complicated.
But they are here. They are not. They are not doing them. It is what is happening.
No, that is not normal. What we want is people to be trained to do the job.
Yeah.
We don't want to put people that are not trained to do the job, but we don't want to put foreigners forever as well. Now the question is what? So I think it also leads us to our second conversation of this show, because then it leads us to why is the press important? Why do we need media? We need media for this type of thing. Because if the Chinese are not respecting the contract with the government, like the government maybe is also tied in other things, diplomatic talk and all that. Maybe there's certain things he cannot say. But as the media, we should be able to say, no, listen, we are happy to have Chinese building EAC. We are happy to have Americans and French building OIMA and extracting the petrol. But we have a contract. We have negotiated a contract. This is not your oil. This is our oil, right? And we have negotiated a contract. Now we need to look at what is inside the contract and what is delivered. And as you say, that's why we need press. But now when we look at the situation in East Africa, it seems like there is less and less counterpower, right? In that case, it's not a counterpower to the government. It's a counterpower to a foreign state that is delivering essential infrastructure for Uganda. But we need both the media and counterpower, because otherwise the balance and the imbalance make us end up in those situations that Traore is fighting in Burkina.
Very good. Maybe let's cross to Gabon. What has been happening in Gabon? Do you know of anything that has been happening in Gabon?
No, there has been different things happening in Africa this week that I think are interesting to catch our attention, right? Yeah. In Gabon, Omar Bongo, ex Jean-Pierre Bongo, was governing since 1967 to 2009. In 2009, he gave power to his son, Ali Bongo. His son, Ali Bongo. I repeat, to his son. In a Central African country.
In Uganda?
It is important people realize that the son is not the father. The father is not the son.
You're repeating it in Uganda.
In the Bongo family, the father ruled for around 42, 45 years.
Yes.
Right? To 1967, 2009. Then he gave it to his son, right? And then his son get deposed by a coup d'etat, right? He was under house arrest. We all remember this video when he said, no, help me, help me. Because he's already disabled. He has a stroke in his brain and it's not very good. Yes, and the Gabonese knew that, but no one wanted to change him, right? So the president now has let him go. Him and his family, they left the country. For the first time in 2 years, he's not under house arrest. He left to Angola and now he's going to live a peaceful life somewhere else.
He went to exile.
He went to exile, but with his family and peacefully. So which means what? Which means that the current president of Gabon now feels secure enough, he feels strong enough to take like the leader of the country that way.
What happened in the EAC? Any news there?
In DRC, unfortunately, there is the case in Ituri are raising up, and Thomas Lubanga has been accused by Kinshasa to fueling the tension. Somewhere around 50 kilometers of Bunia, the capital city where UPDF are, there is like those raising tensions, and the government have called Thomas Lubanga to be the one behind all of those tension and riots. The UPDF are there, the FARDC are there. It is important not a second front line open in Ituri, because you already have the situation in the Kivu with the M23 leading. Now the Ituri, if it's on fire, it's a problem for the UPDF, it's a problem for the country. So we're watching at the situation really carefully.
Now, I see since Joseph Kabila returned to his country,
which he didn't do, by the way. It was a fake news, eh?
He didn't come.
He announced it to the media that he's coming back to Goma.
He didn't come.
But no one saw him in Goma. We have zero evidence that the president has stepped a foot in Goma. And I have looked at it because I believe in the fake news. Because if Kabila is saying, I'm coming back to Goma, I think he's coming back to Goma. But then I'm searching, and then people in Goma are telling me, you know what, no one saw this guy. We have read everywhere that Kabila is back to Goma, there's debate, and Tshisekedi says it's not normal, blah, blah, blah. We haven't seen this man here.
Hey.
So it was probably like, I don't know what type of politics Congolese are playing, honestly.
He was trying to throw a stone in the forest and see what comes out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But me, I've been saying he's going to come
because
back.
Because already now he got Tshisekedi's opinion about his coming. Because when he said I'm coming, you saw Tshisekedi's opinion. So that means he's endangered.
Now he's been accused of supporting the rebel. He said basically.
But also you saw the comment of Muhoz, the CDF of Uganda.
Hey, what did he say about it?
When he said I'm coming back.
Kabila.
He said, when Kabila said I'm coming back to my country, the citizen of Uganda told him off that you will never be the president of Congo again.
He said it straight, eh? He said it straight. The son of the
straight away. You will never be the president of Congo again, and I'm supporting Tshisekedi.
The truth is he does support Tshisekedi because Tshisekedi have bought also like those new armed vehicles. You know those new armed vehicles like Uganda is producing? There's a new showroom in Entebbe Road, literally just after the airports. Uganda is producing its own military equipment, which is a good idea.
Are they producing or assembling?
Assembling, most probably assembling, yeah. And so now Tshisekedi has bought 80 for the FARDC army. So we know that there is some deal going on.
From Uganda,
it seems like he is trying to secure Ugandan neutrality in the conflict, or he's trying at least to make sure that Uganda doesn't play against him like Rwanda is doing. So I do think there is contracts here that need to be looked at.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Any news from Guinea?
No, in Guinea something interesting is happening because what we've seen in West Africa, and it's very important to understand that what we have seen in East Africa, and we spoke about it before here, is that there is a reorganization of gold trading lines, right? So gold used to come out of Guinea, Ghana, Mali, and Burkina without no much being traced, right? And so we have seen that Ghana has decided to cut the capacity for small middlemen, especially those Chinese middlemen, to be able to trade the gold, right? They can't buy the gold from artisanal workers and then sell it overseas for much more money. So we also have seen that Traore himself have also asked for small-scale miners to become registered and to open registration systems. So the gold of Burkina is controlled by the state and refined first in Burkina, in Mali, in Guinea, or in Ghana, right? In Guinea, what happened this week is phenomenal. The president of Guinea, he revoked mining permits. He has gone through all the mining permits that Guinea has, right? He has looked at which one has paid the tax, which one has delivered on his promise, which one is respecting mining code that have been voted by himself in Guinea recently, right? And he's revoking contract, exactly like Traore did with companies in Burkina Faso, exactly like what happened in Ghana, right? So what we observe is the reorganization of gold trade, right? And we want to make sure that our people understand this is absolutely important to regain economic sovereignty, right? We cannot sell the gold and now the gold goes to enrich middlemen between Africa and the Gulf. All this gold is now sold in Dubai. Dubai is pretending to be an African France, right? Now we know that Dubai receives more gold than Africa sent. So there is gold that is shallow somewhere, somehow. There is gold that is not accounted for. West Africa produce a big part of the wealth of the gold industry in the world and in Dubai in particular, right? Yet Burkinabe people don't receive any of this, and Guinean people are the same. Guinea has the biggest bauxite mine in the world. Since the 1950s, we know this mine alone can produce enough aluminium for all Africa. We know that this mine alone have more bauxite capacity than anywhere else in Canada, in Australia. We know that the French even said it in the 50s, at colonial time, in the 60s and 70s. We all were looking for the development of that mine. That mine is the people that have been working on it has collected money one way or another, and Guinea hasn't seen anything from it, right? So now the president is trying to make sure this type of story doesn't happen anymore. When Guinea exports something, it should not be raw material, right? And this is in the same boat.
Value addition.
This is the value addition we want. Traore is doing it. Ghana is doing it. Burkina Faso is with Traore is doing it. I want to say Camarade in Guinea is doing it. Guinean president is going in. So it should be a thing.
Nigeria's richest man, or Africa's richest man, is doing
Dangote
it on oil.
Dangote. Yeah, Dangote is doing it with petrol.
They've been fighting him.
And oil.
His own oil refinery.
It is even like cotton. I don't know if you know, but the seed of cotton are made to do gunpowder. But as like the Mali, like the Sahel is fighting, but he has to import his gunpowder from overseas, right? When the gunpowder that is made overseas is made partly with the seed of cotton that Mali and Burkina are sending. So it is quite clear that the agenda of sovereignty, economic sovereignty, is gaining traction in West Africa. It's gaining traction towards the mine and especially towards the gold, right? No more gold exported. No more export of raw minerals without transformations, right? And this is what is being played. The issue I can say is that with the division of those small countries, Togo one side, Guinea one side, Mali another side, Burkina another side, it makes it easier for people with a lot of money to play one against each other, right? To be saying like, no, listen, I'm going to get some gold in Burkina and I'm going to sell it as Guinean gold. So now it looks like it's Guinean gold, but in exchange, you tax me less than Traore would have taxed me, right? And that's the problem that we have been trying to explain as Pan-Africans, is that even if we take the right policy, some people can play us. Some people can come and play and divide, right? Some people can say, no, we're taking the gold of Burkina Faso, we're passing through the borders, we're sending it to Togo, and in Togo we pretend it's Togolese gold, but we are asking the government to tax us less because we come with some gold. And now, like in this regulation, in this legal system of Togo, it's easier to send it to Dubai with no tax, with no regulations, right? So it is important we understand those small states, they also might end up playing against each other if they don't have a proper Pan-African policy. Those policy of Ghana, Guinea, and Burkina of making sure that they refine the gold is good, but it should not be against each other. It should be taken in consideration of each other. And it is important that there is Pan-African policy that emerge outside of those experiences.
Very good, Comrade Safri. Togo, what's happening in Togo?
I think Togo has had a really interesting conference this week about African debt. And I have started to look at it and make some research about it, but I don't have the conclusion yet. But the big question that Togo Lomé conference is asking, there were a conference in Lomé with all finance ministers, African finance ministers on the debt, right? And the question that I ask are interesting. Africa is in debt around 70% of its GDP right now. The question is, who owns African debt? And what is the interest of those that own African debt? Right? Who is re-indebting Africa? Who is making sure that governments sign loans so they see some development, but now that loans is the property and that infrastructure will become the property of someone that has the loan, right? So it is important we look at those questions, because beyond the question of security, there's a question of financial security. We have seen it in Kenya, right? William Ruto said things clearly. Kenyatta have took too much loans. We have to reimburse the loans. Every budget we're reimbursing around 15 to 20% of a budget to reimburse the loans only. Not even the extra, but the loans only. This is too much for a country like us. We have to reduce. Now we need to look at what are we cutting as expenditure, right? We don't want that situation to happen. We don't want like Uganda also tomorrow to have to tell us, no, we have to stop the exploitation of petrol or close this or that, because we do not have the capacity, because there's someone with taking us with the loans, right? So it is important we look at those conferences and we look at those questions. Who owns East African debt? That will be one of my questions. Who owns East African debt? Who has invested money into the development of East African infrastructure and is calling it back right now? From Kenya, from Uganda, from Tanzania, this is an important question. It's not really much on the public debate, but who owns East African debt should be a major question for us.
Very good. Comrade, I also wanted to talk about, Ramaphosa is in US meeting Trump.
Yeah.
And you know that Comrade Julius Malema was denied visa to
enter the US.
Is it UK or US?
I'm not sure.
I think it's UK.
Okay.
UK. I have seen the comments of EFF on, especially Julius Malema himself, on the development of Ramaphosa traveling to go and beg Donald Trump in America, especially at the time when Donald Trump is accusing South Africa of practicing what Donald Trump called white racism.
Even genocide is
over land.
Yeah.
A land that 114 years ago, the white man came, killed the native Africans, and took over. Now, when the Africans are trying to bargain to get just a portion of what they stole, when they're trying to do that, and through legal means, through parliament, Donald Trump says, you are practicing white racism. He forgot to tell us what name he would give to those who killed and took over land in the first place.
Yes.
He has not given us the right word to call that one.
For this.
So, at the time when Donald Trump is accusing South Africa of such a crime, but also remember South Africa's stand on Gaza, Israel and Palestine war in Gaza.
Yes.
You remember?
And he stand firmly against Netanyahu.
They took
very firmly to the International Criminal Court of Justice.
All those are against America.
Correct.
So now, instead of America coming to negotiate, it is now Ramaphosa going. And you know Donald Trump, the bulldozer. You know what he did to Ukraine President Zelensky. What do you think Ramaphosa is going to get for the South Africans from a Donald Trump administration? What do you think he is going to get right?
So you see,
if he is not going to sell the soul of South Africa.
So South African strategy is quite interesting. When it comes to international affairs, whatever we like the ANC, whatever we like Ramaphosa, we have to say that those guys are doing big job in the world. Like they're doing big jobs. What they're pushing is often interesting, right? So Donald Trump said, you guys are racist with your law. Ramaphosa said, okay, we're gonna come to you and demonstrate to you that it's not the case. He comes with who? Minister of Agriculture. Minister of Agriculture is white like me. The Minister of Agriculture in South Africa is white like me. I'm not going to pronounce his name because it's an Afrikaner's name. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know. Those
try.
Afrikaners.
How can you fail to pronounce your name?
I know it's the head. The Afrikaners are not my people. Afrikaners are not my people. You can't pronounce South African names, the black names, just because. No. So he has a name there.
So he's going
with blacks, Indians, whites. And all of them are South Africans and are going to tell him the same story, which is that this country have decided to apply new laws so they can take assets that are not used. It's not even assets that are used by someone and they transfer it to someone else. No, it is assets. Land is an asset that is not being used, so they can give it back to people that want to invest in it and use it, right? And so he's coming with the rainbow. I like when South Africans do that, like they come like black, white, Indians, bam, and they come to tell you exactly what their country needs. And you look at this like, which other country can do that? Which other country can do that? No other country can do that.
So actually Ramaphosa has done the right thing.
So Ramaphosa
is going to America.
He's showing
with a cabinet.
He's showing
full of whites.
You have not full of white. The Minister of Agriculture, which is the question of the land, right? Which is a white guy. It's not
so it will be the white man to explain to
the white man will be present in this meeting, telling him exactly like the black man is saying. So they show like there is unity in South Africa, and I think that's what's important. What's important is that Donald Trump, which is playing politics like a small boy. It's a small boy politics. My friends Elon Musk told me this, blah, 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 blah. So now he brings 50 50 Afrikaners arrived in the US as refugee. 50 Afrikaners arrived last week in the US as refugee, pretending there's a white genocide happening that side. The president of South Africa is going to show and defend its policy in Washington in front of Trump, not saying we are going to change because you have told us to change, but to show that this is the best for the country, right? In one hand you have someone shaking the tree and trying to be like those teenagers that are drinking their first beer and they drank, you know, that's Donald Trump style. But now he has the wise African National Congress in front of him, and the wise African National Congress that knows a lot about international relations because they've been in exile since 1960. They've been in exile dealing with such leaders, is able to explain the situation to South Africa. And I don't believe there is any sell out. I believe this is where South Africa is great, because South Africa can go to Russia, right? And the week after, go to Washington and be received within the Oval Office. Can Donald Trump go to Russia to watch the parade of 8th of May? No, he can't. He cannot travel wherever he wants, but South Africa can. South Africa is able to travel both to US and to Russia. South Africa is able to sit at the BRICS table as one of the members that made the BRICS, letting people in and out, and yet go to organize the G20 meetings which is usually opposite things, right? South Africa is able to host both the BRICS meeting and the G20 meeting. So South Africa speaks to the world, and his diplomacy is amazing. Amazing work. And I don't think I don't say Ramaphosa is amazing or things like this. What I'm saying is that they're going to come with a clear message. Whatever Donald Trump is going to listen or not, we don't know. But what we know is that they are not going to stop the great policy that they have put in place, which is to be friends with whoever want to help the country. Because the country have some interest into staying within the agreement of AGOAs, for instance, which allows certain black-owned farm to sell product to America without tax, which is a good thing for those new black farmers, right? So the country has advantage to stay both friends with Russia and the US, has advantage to speak to the European Union and the African Union, and is doing this. And he's doing it really great, and I do believe that outside of Africa, we put that, outside of Africa, the African National Congress have great international relation policy, and they're working well for the country. In Africa it's different, because what we have seen in Congo, we can't forget.
So it means Ramaphosa is actually very smart. That you have said they are practicing white racism. Mm-hmm. Ramaphosa has got his cabinet, yes, including a white man, yes, in charge of land, the one we are accusing them.
Opposition leader in charge of land. It's the opposition in South Africa that is in charge of Minister of Agriculture, not the government. It's the opposition. It's like if Bobby Wine here would have the Minister of Police, and Besigye would have the Minister of the Army or Minister of Defense. That's exactly how South Africans are doing it. They said, listen, you guys don't want the African National Congress because they haven't reached 50% in the last election. We call any party that want to contribute to the direction that's of South Africa that we have set, which is a multiracial equal society, right? If you guys apply to this framework, unity government, you can come and be part of the government of national unity. Right? And so far it's working. When the rest of the world cannot work with each other, when the French struggle to make a government, when the Italians struggle to make a government, when the new German president struggle to make a new government with everyone inside, South Africa knows how to do it.
You also add that when Trump comes into power, he gets rid of all the hidden people he has been working with. When Obama came into power, he got rid of all the leaders
that were working before.
Yes. When Biden came into power, he also did the same to the workers of Obama.
Correct.
He only co-opted Obama to work with him.
Yes.
So even them, although they are telling us a different picture, even them they lack that cohesion. So South Africa is actually telling them that I can take over office as president.
Correct.
But I call an opposition member, yes, and he becomes the Minister of Agriculture.
Yes.
And now they are bringing it to the face of Donald Trump.
Even the
Donald Trump, who is speaking racism, he is accusing South Africa of racism. Now what Ramaphosa is doing is he's taking his racist cabinet to him and show him, this one is a white man, he is the Minister of Agriculture. Yes. This is your brother.
Yes.
I am black, I'm the president. This is white, he's the minister. You are saying we are practicing white racism. What is this one?
What is this one going to tell you? Listen.
Secondly, I'm sure they are going to give him the history of how the white man came to occupy the land of the black in South Africa.
Definitely.
They came, killed, maimed. They did all manner of things, forced labor onto their farms.
So what was amazing is that they took them out of the land to put them back inside the land, working for the white man. They become workers. They get transformed into workers.
The black man is saying, you white man, you took away 100 square miles of land from me. But for the last 114 years, you have only used 50%. I am begging, please, give me back the 50% and utilize it. And utilize it to also earn a living.
We need to know.
This is what Donald Trump is calling white racism.
Yes.
I am asking 50% of what you stole from me by force. You even killed my ancestors to take what you took from me. But I'm not going to, to do anything about that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to revenge on that.
No,
I only want to survive by you giving me back what you have failed to use.
To my great son and my great children.
Donald Trump is calling this unfair, racism and so on.
But remember, Donald Trump to speak to his own audience. Donald Trump, he doesn't know much about the world. He's a millionaire that made his millions in the US. He doesn't know much about the world. So the problem is that who told him that? And probably Elon Musk start to tell him that. It's also Elon Musk, a white South African that have been successful because of South African education. He's been successful because of South African gold. His father was able to pay him all those fancy schools because he was an engineer that was making black workers work in the gold mine. The black miners would take the gold out of Johannesburg with engineers that were white, and those engineers become rich and powerful, and that's the father of Elon Musk that allows him to go to Canada, allows him to go to the US, allows him to go even just before that to Pretoria Boys School, which was the best school in the country at the time, right? So his education is coming from South Africa.
Exploitation of his brothers.
Exploitations of South Africans of South African black workforce, right?
Workforce,
so now he has spoken and referred to Donald Trump. He spoke to Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump is applying those things. It is quite clear that South Africa is not the country that is being described by Trump. What is great is not so much whether Trump is going to listen or not, because we know this man is erratic. What is great is to show that South Africa can go with his cabinet in Russia, in America, in EU, in Japan, in China. South Africa can go and travel to Taiwan and China, and both people respect them. It is really unique. It is really unique. It is a really unique
South
success.
Africa can take Israel to International Court of Justice and still continue to move around the world without any restrictions.
No restrictions. No restrictions.
South Africa.
South Africa, really? No, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the people. I'm impressed by the South Africans.
Now, let's end with your comment. Tanzania in the East African region. Tanzania and Kenya in the East African region. We who live in Uganda, Congo, Sudan, South Sudan, Burundi.
Yes.
We've been taking these two countries as our role models when it comes to democracy. Of late, the weighing scale is turning upside down. Tanzania, since coming into the hands of a lady, you know that lady?
Yeah.
Who is she?
Sanyu.
Eh?
Sanyu. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I won't say it. But
I will not continue unless you pronounce her name properly.
No, I can research.
Yeah, research. I cannot continue before you pronounce.
I don't know.
You must learn to respect African names.
No, but I don't know the name. I don't say it.
You know, I know you're a smart man. You're a researcher. You know. I will even pause the show and wait for you to mention correctly the name of the president of Tanzania.
Of the woman you said?
Yes.
Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Very good. Repeat
Samia
again.
Suluhu Hassan.
Very good.
Which was she was the vice president.
The vice president under Magufuli.
Yeah.
When Magufuli died, she took over by law, by the constitution.
Yeah.
Now, this is my argument. Since this country fell into the hands of a female president, this female president is now copying Uganda.
Why is it important she's a female?
Yet, we Ugandans have been looking up to Tanzania and Kenya.
Yes.
And all these two, Kenya and Uganda, they're copying from Uganda. And they're copying not good examples. They're only copying bad examples.
Yes.
The opposition figures in Uganda being hounded
Yes.
Not just haunted, but haunted from,
Yes.
as if, you know, this squirrel, we used to live in the village. We used to chase these squirrels.
That's
and it goes and hides into a hole. You go and dig the hole. You dig it out.
Until you get the
kill
squirrel.
it. You eat it.
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah,
the
that's too
Ugandan politics is about.
Yes.
Now, all along,
Yes.
whenever we would be talking,
Yes.
would be saying, why can't we copy what Tanzania is doing during Magufuli, first of all, but Magufuli also had started, but before Magufuli, there was good leadership. Kenya here, in all the previous leaderships, apart from this one of William Ruto, all the other previous leaders, they were just like you see how South Africa is
in
dealing
dialogues.
with its opposition.
In dialogues between opposition and the power.
Those people have been good. Now the latest is that Tundu Lissu, the main opposition figure in Tanzania, that's like Besigye here. Besigye is in jail. Tundu Lissu is in jail.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
Now, Martha Karua from Kenya.
Yes.
Another country copying bad examples from Uganda.
Yes.
Went to Tanzania yesterday.
Yes.
So that today, this morning, he can attend the court case of Tundu Lissu.
Which is important.
You know what happened to her? You know what happened to her?
She's been kicked, sent back.
Back to Kenya. Go
back to Kenya. She didn't even leave the airport.
No, they didn't allow her.
They didn't allow her to leave the airport.
However, in the background,
yes,
all these regional presidents belonging to East African community, they're talking about regional integration.
Yes.
They even saying this region is Jumuiya ya Africa, Jumuiya ya East Africa.
That's how they call it.
Yeah, Jumuiya ya East Africa.
Yes.
That we are one, we are brothers.
Yeah.
If my brother is in trouble in Tanzania and I'm in Kenya, I must go and see what trouble he is in.
East African community guarantee the movement, the easy and free movement of East African.
Goods and services and the people.
Exactly.
This is not what's happening.
And if you make a trial, it is because there should be a justice. Right? If there is a justice, then you have to accept certain facts. A judge, an advocate, and now, people watching it.
Now, in East African region, the EAC, what I am seeing is that we are trying so much by mouth to speak that we are brothers. When actually by action, we are 100% different by action. First of all, these tariffs. When you go to Kenya, your goods are leaving Uganda to Kenya. You reach at the border of Busia.
Yeah.
You will be treated as Ugandan trader entering Kenya.
Exactly.
Not as an East African trader. No. You get it?
Okay.
When I was living here,
to go to Tanzania,
going to Tanzania, when I reached at the border, I was treated as any other stranger entering into their country.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Same applies to Rwanda. In fact, I spent about 30 minutes being cleared at the Rwanda border. The person I found at the counter first forwarded my passport to the supervisor.
Okay.
At the Rwanda border.
Okay.
When I went to the supervisor, I found him busy. He was working on other people. I sat for about, standing, not sitting.
Half an hour?
20 minutes at least. But also we spent 20 minutes with him being interviewed.
Okay.
What are you going to do in Rwanda? Whom do you know in Rwanda? How many days are you going to spend in Rwanda? Are you sure there is this function that you're going for is there? Who is that one who has invited you? When you give the name, they first have to verify. Is it true that this man is there? But is that function is there that he's talking about?
Okay.
Where are you going to sleep? You get it? Now, if you believe that this whole East African region is one home, why do you question me when I'm leaving my sitting room, going to the bedroom to sleep, or coming from my bedroom, coming to the dining to eat?
Yeah, if it's your house.
Politicians are speaking things
but
in their face. When they're speaking, you think they mean what they say. A man who means what he says is Traore.
Definitely.
Yes.
We have seen.
When Traore says, we want Africa to be self-reliant,
yes,
he means it. The next day, he orders for road equipment.
Yes.
He says, you Burkinabe people who have been jobless, go and study how to operate these machines. Come and operate
Come
them.
and we operate.
Make mistakes on the road, repeat them and correct them.
Yes.
Make mistakes, don't fear.
Learn. Yeah, don't making mistakes.
Making mistakes on the road.
That's how those guys
After
have
you
learned how to
realize that
make
it's a
roads.
mistake, the engineer comes and shows you that you have made a mistake, repeat, correct the mistake, move forward.
We move forward, yeah.
That is a man who means what he says.
But if you look at the development in East Africa right now, what we observe is, as you said, Riek Machar and Salva Kiir
You look at them.
are into fights, and what has happened is the president have enjailed in his main opponent in his own house, but still, when you look at what's happening with the opposition in DRC, right? We're just making a wrong term.
Yeah.
In DRC currently, Kabila is being accused of fueling the rebellions, and so all of his legal right as a politician are being taken away from him. They're voting to abolish all the rights he has, right? So oppositions in Kenya, it's a bit better, but in the opposition is in the street, and the country is stuck. In Tanzania, the opposition is now in jail, right? So what do we see? What we see is slowly but surely law being used against democracy. And what is interesting is to see what type of tools do they use, because they don't simply use violence. They don't simply come and take Besigye and now the guys disappear and they deny they have him. They say we have him, but he's illegally. It's legally that we are going to challenge him. What he has done is illegal and we're going to prove it. And to prove it, what do? They change the law. They change the law.
Like what they are doing now.
Exactly
The
like
UPDF
what's happening with the UPDF Act. They say, listen, this democracy is not functioning, because that's what is the underlying message. The underlying message is that this democracy is not functioning. So all of our opponents, we are going to enjail them, but we're not going to do it like the old way. We're not going to do it by making our opponent disappear. We
Let's
are
change the
making
law.
by changing the law, so legally
To
talking.
favor one group.
Group over the other, right? And they call war laws, right? They use the law in order to prevent opposition leaders to practice their constitutional right, because it is part of the constitutions that opposition leaders have certain protection to speak. Freedom of speech is inside the constitution in Tanzania, in Kenya, in Rwanda, in all those places, right? And no one can say we stop with freedom of speech. We are in time of social media. The government cannot control anymore social media and what people speak about. No, don't forget that. Back in the 60s and 70s, it was easy to control what people think. Now they can't control what people think. So they use the law against their very own constitution. They change the law in order to be able to know what? Call the civilian people, military leaders, call civilians future rebels. It is not possible to have laws that criminalize opposition. Opposition is part of the democracy and part of the constitution. I'm not saying it's the best regime. I'm not saying democracy is the only way we should function. What I'm observing is that when the rest of the world is questioning how democracy should function, East Africa has one answer. And the answer is, by law, we're going to prevent the opposition from seizing power. By law, we're going to prevent the opposition from gaining the arguments and winning an elections. We're not going to fraud elections like visibly, like it was done before, because that doesn't really work. That now attracts a lot of attention. There's a lot of drama. Even in the last DRC election, they didn't fraud it physically. What they're doing is to make sure that oppositions do not have the freedom to produce the speech, to explain to the people what's happening. Because while we are busy talking about Besigye in jail, while we are busy talking about our civilian leaders or military leaders or we don't take time to ask what is the problem of that country and how can we do it better. We don't allow oppositions to raise up proper cases. And that's what one thing that I think has been really great is by doing this, what power does is that it shapes the narratives. Now it's about is it military, is it civilian, yes or no, but we don't talk of what can be done better in the country. In an environment like South Africa, people, they talk about what can be done better for the country. And now you oppose. No, the white people will tell you, no, we need to reintroduce like better agriculture, like back in the day, we export, we make money from it. The black will say, no, the farms are your farms. You are only going to benefit from this. There is opposition, there is debate. And the country sit together, cut the debate and said, this is where we are going, right? Now we have a situation where opposition leaders cannot shows where the country should go, they cannot complain. And I found that a bit interesting because East Africa is doing well. East Africa is doing better than Southern Africa, than West Africa in terms of the economics, in terms of reducing poverty. East Africa is doing well. But right now they don't allow oppositions to propose narrative, to propose what else can be done. And you've seen me in this show. I'm not in favor of democracy all the time. I also know that democracy weakens certain countries, right? Oppositions become taken by foreign powers. We need to accept a certain level of conversations. In a country like Uganda that has been doing super great, that is having 6.3% of GDP growth, I think, over the last year, we need to accept that a conversation should be happening so we keep what's doing good and we progress on what we can progress about.
And on that note, I have nothing more useful to add than what you've already said. My name is Andrew Dumba Katsawi, speaker, and I've been with my comrade Thomas Lesafri, aka Mutatina. This is the Pan-African Hoax-PAP weekly roundup every Monday here at Satellite.
You can check us
on our social media platforms, the Pan-African Pyramid YouTube channel. Please like our page, subscribe, share, and go down in the comment section and give your opinions on these shows. We actually come back on the next day and we respond to some of those good comments that you give and your opinions. And remember, when you're giving your opinions, to keep the comments a bit moderate. Do not use abusive language.
Yes.
Because we are moderate people.
Thank you so much. Go and check Rutatina on TikTok.
And Andrew Dumba Live on TikTok, and the Pan-African Pyramid on TikTok, and the Spy Uganda on TikTok.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Africa.
Let's unite.
Don't agonize.
Organize.
Don't agonize.
Organize. Aluta.
Continue.
Aluta.
Continue.
La patrie ou la mort.
What does that mean?
Thomas Sankara.